My name is Eli. What's your name?
Bella.
Wow, Bella, you're very beautiful today. Are you looking for something?
Yes,
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for my present.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I'll tell you what. If you pass a little test, we can help you find your present, okay? So over here, we're going to have a question for you. Can you read the question and then answer?
Dinosaur has 2 rows of bony plates, a drum along its back, and tail.
Okay, so which dinosaur is it?
Stegosaurus.
That's correct. Wonderful job, Bella.
好的，如果你想要礼物的话，你要回答我3个问题，好吗？
是的，
第一个，我们用什么来看东西？
我们用眼睛来看东西。
很棒。第2个问题，我们用什么来听？
我们用耳朵来听。
太棒了。最后一个问题，我们用什么来呼吸？
我们用肺来呼吸。
太棒了。
Te voy a ayudar. Solo si tú me cantas una canción. ¿Te sabes alguna canción?
Sí.
Cántala entonces.
Mariposita está en la cocina haciendo chocolate para la máquina. Poti, poti, patas de palo, ojos de vidrio y nariz de bacama. Cho, 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 cho.
Sprichst du mit mir?
Ja.
Etwas, was du nicht siehst. Und das sieht grün aus.
Die Buchstabe O.
Oh, I'll stop you here, guys. It just makes more language, right? 4-year-old Russian girl. So that confirms the hypothesis, right? Kids learn better. Yeah? Or acquire better. Yeah? True or false? What do you think, guys? Well, I do have another video.
Hi everyone, I'm Benny Lewis from Ireland, and when I was 21 years old, the only language I spoke was English. I took a little German in school, but I did not do well at it, and I was convinced that I would never speak another language, and it just was not for me. Y entonces fui a España. Había pasado 6 meses allí sin aprender casi nada. Es que no basta con mudarse al país. Y tampoco con estudiar mucho vocabulario o mucha gramática. J'ai rencontré tellement de gens avec des histoires similaires qui ont mis des années à étudier une langue sans finalement la parler. Il ne s'agit pas d'être nul, que la langue soit trop difficile. Il faut appliquer une autre approche et une autre attitude. Dopo quei 6 mesi in Spagna, ho cominciato ad imparare lo spagnolo con dei metodi poco convenzionali. Ho scoperto che c'è un aspetto umano che non si insegna nella maggior parte dei corsi accademici.
And the last one?
Tentei explicar isso no Language Hacking Guide. Falei sobre o que aprendi nos últimos 7 anos e sobre como se pode falar uma língua na primeira semana e falar muito bem em alguns meses só.
Okay, I have to stop here. So, who learns better? At what age did he start learning? 21, he moved to Spain, right? Well, guys, the bad news is, or maybe the good news for us, is that we can learn just as kids, basically, just as, okay? The problem is not our brains, the problem is the environment, the conditions, okay? We can be just as good learners as kids. The problem is we have bills to pay, stress, we have no time. So we are not in a very conducive environment, if you think about it, right? And we're not really acquiring, we're learning. Kids are acquiring. They are in a context in which they can make mistakes, errors, and that's it. And now, we have to wrap up. So, this is what I did last year. I went to the University of Haifa and I talked to this guy, Dr. Avi Carney. He's an expert in neuroscience of language acquisition, and he actually proved in a laboratory experiment that there is no childhood advantage in the acquisition of skill in using an artificial language rule. He created a language to avoid external influence, right? Based on Hebrew, and he proved that older kids and young adults, they're better than younger kids. So have you ever heard of the critical period hypothesis? Yeah. Nowadays, guys, we should not call it that anymore. There's a lot of scientists who call it the sensitive period hypothesis. Because when you say critical, it kind of means that if you don't learn in that period, you'll never learn, right?
Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of people here, successful learners, speakers, who probably started when they were older, right? How old were you when you started? Is there anybody here who started after 18? See? And can you speak English?
Yes.
Awesome. You're not a nature freak, you know? You can do it. It's possible to do it. And the conclusion is this. This is the conclusion. Language is connected with motor skill. So, you have to practice. It's just like driving a car. You will never drive the car if you don't drive the car. You will never speak if you don't speak. As we grow older, conditions matter more. So it's not about your brain so much. Of course, yes, children, they have more plastic brains, but not enough to make them, super duper awesome learners of languages, And finally, sleeping is required for memory consolidation. Whatever you do between the time you had the class and you go to bed is going to influence positively or negatively what you learned in the language class. So the window, this period, is longer in adults. This period between when you had the class and going to bed is longer. Normally we go to work, we have to think of other things, right? This is bad. Last quiz, take a look. I'll help you because we're out of time. So, what is the importance of the hippocampus, remember? Yes, it's, remember H.M. Henry Molaison? When they removed the hippocampus, he couldn't form long-term memory, right? So, it's important for the transition. What is the second stage of the competence curve, or the learning curve? Burgess. Conscious incompetent. I know that I don't know. That's when I make the decision. And which memory type is more active in kids? What do you think? Yes, working memory. We have to take advantage of working memory. We have to make them actively retrieve things so that they can learn better, okay? And you guys came here for the benefits of being bilingual. I'm not going to tell you. No, I'm kidding. This is well, basically everything. If you are bilingual, you can make better decisions because you're deciding all the time between using that language or this language. If you are bilingual, you have better analytical skills. If you are bilingual, you have better reasoning, logical skills, right? So you will actually improve your math performance if you are bilingual. If you are bilingual, you can delay neurodegenerative diseases like dementia or Alzheimer's, for example, by 5 years. You can delay, you cannot cure, but you can delay neurodegenerative diseases, okay? It took me a while to be able to pronounce that. It's hard, right? Can you say neurodegenerative 3 times in a row? Try it. It's hard, right? Yes. There are studies showing that if you are bilingual or multilingual, you become more tolerant because you can see things with different eyes, from a different perspective. Yes, you can understand people better. You can see different colors. That's the funny thing. In Russian, maybe Catherine still remembers, you have some words for blue. You have more words for blue in Russian. So Russian people, they can see different tonalities of blue that we cannot see, just because the language has that in their vocabulary, right? That's interesting.
Oh.
Yes. So the way you interpret the world, has everything to do with language and the words that the language has. Okay. That's it, guys. Now, we don't have time. We have to take the coffee break. But when we come back, I think, what time is it?
10.
So we're going to have 25 minutes, right? 25 minutes. And then I have everything I discussed on my blog. So I have 3 posts here. I'm gonna leave here. Do you guys have a QR code reader? Great, so you can check this. Oh yes, the true and false, the true and false. Can I correct them very quickly? Yes, I'm sure you're interested, right? So, right. Well, this computer is a little challenging. There you go. Well, now you're not going to like this, but teachers must take into account the different learning styles. True or false? False. A lot of evidence shows that there's no such thing as learning styles. Just because you prefer learning in a visual way, that's not the best way for you to learn. How can you learn cartography in a non-visual way, for example? Think about it. I'm an auditory learner, and I'm going to have physical geography class. I have to look at maps. The only way for you to teach is by using visual aids, right? So this is false. Students should spend at least an hour a day doing homework. False. There is a lot of evidence too showing that we assign too much homework. In Finland, for example, they are always number 1 or 2 in the world ranking of best education in the world, right? World best education, yeah, I just said world 2 times, right? But anyway, so they do 10-15 minutes of homework a day. Yeah. Children are better language learners than adults. False. Not necessarily, depends on the conditions, more than the brain. A good memory is vital to effective language learning. No. Learning has more to do with procedural memory than with declarative memory. You guys, I just proved to you that you have horrible memories and you speak English. It's not vital. Right?
That's true.
So, summarizing and highlighting are great ways to study. They are not as effective as active retrieval. Summarizing, when you summarize something in a text, you go back to the text and you say, oh, I know this. No, you don't. You have the feeling that you know it because you remembered reading, but then you don't know it because you didn't actively retrieve that information, right? Yeah. Bilingual people are better decision makers. Yes. Mini breaks between every 15-20 minute blocks of teaching are beneficial. Yes, because there's something that I didn't have time to discuss. It's called the cognitive load theory. We have a limited capacity. So if you start shoving things into our memory, it doesn't work, right? So taking a break helps. Distributing learning over a longer period is better than short intensive repetition. Yes. For retention, for performance, remember if you do the math thing, you study, you cram like the whole day, and then you do the test, maybe you're going to get a better grade, but over time you're going to forget very easily. So it's better to distribute over a long period. Bilingual brains have a constant internal fight to switch languages. Actually, they do. That's why we're very good decision makers, because we're always deciding every second which word to use, which word to use. Have you ever received a stimulus from the environment, speaking Portuguese, and you remember the word in English first? Yeah, because your connection is stronger, you know? So you have to decide, oh, how do you say that in Portuguese? And you are Brazilians, huh? And the degenerative brain diseases can be delayed in bilingual brains by 5 years. Yes. So, check my blog, and you guys will find all the other answers, okay? That's it, thank you very much. The bad news is, by this time tomorrow, you will have forgotten at least 40%.